Attention duelists. Beans here, bringing you Master Duel on a Monday, but not the usual Master Duel Monday watch and learn. We'll get to that later. But right now, what I want to do is I want to open up Blessings of Nature because we're entering a bold new era of Master Duel. Tier limits are here, and the game will never be the same. So, if I'm going to be doing the watch and learns, I need to know what they do. And I'm going to learn what they do by opening them. Sitting on a fat stack of gems. Let's crack into it. 2 URs. Not bad, not bad. Eight entirely new cards. Let's read them out. Merry Melfiest, level 4 Synchro Monster. Requiring a tuner and a non-tuner. If this card is special summoned, you can target one face-up monster on the field and return it to the hand. If your opponent normally special summons a monster, or an opponent's monster targets this card for an attack, you can return this card to the extra deck, then special summon a Melfi Xyz monster from your extra deck. You can use each effect of Merry Melfies once per turn. Tier Elements Crime. When a spell or trap card or monster effect is activated, well, you can draw a Tier Elements monster or Visas Starfrost, negate it, and if you do, shuffle that card into the deck. Then, send one monster from your hand to the graveyard. If this card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can target a banished Tier Elements monster, add it to your hand. You can only use one Tier Elements Crime effect per turn, and only once that turn. Down Trap, those are always good. Amazoness Silver Swordmaster. Pendulum monster with a scale of 7. Amazoness monsters you control gain attack equal to their own level times 100. When an attack is declared involving your Amazoness monster, you can target one Amazoness spell trap in your graveyard and add it to your hand. You can only use this effect of Swordmaster once per turn. Monster effect is if this card in the monster zone is destroyed by battle or a card effect, you can place it in your Pendulum zone. If an Amazoness monster is special summoned to your field while this card's in your graveyard, you can place this card in your Pendulum zone. You can only use each effect of Silver Swordmaster once per turn. We have our super rare, World Soul Carbon. You can attribute this normal summoned or set card to add one Earth Fairy monster from your deck to your hand, except World Soul Carbon. If a face-up fairy monster control is sent to the graveyard while this card is in your graveyard, you can place this card on top of your deck. You can only use one World Soul Carbon effect per turn, and only once that turn. Weird. Attack filler. There's another Swordmaster and Merry Melfies. We have Silvervine Senri. Level 2. You can attribute this card to target one level 2 monster in your graveyard, except Silvervine Senri, and special summon it. Then you can special summon one level 2 monster from your hand with a different attribute than the monster special summoned by this effect. You can only use this effect of Silvervine Senri once per turn. I feel like that's a little bit of sprite support with it being a level 2 that special summons. But I don't think there's a place for it because sprites kind of got their whole thing figured out by now. Rarity bump. Nice. Alright. Less new stuff, but let's read it off. Amazoness Hot Spring. Continuous trap. When this card is activated, you can take an Amazoness monster from your deck and either add it to your hand, or if it's a Pendulum monster, place it in the Pendulum zone. When you take battle damage while you control an Amazoness monster, you can gain life points equal to the damage you took. You can only use this effect of Hot Spring once per turn. There's another crime. We have Tier Elements Rule Kalos. Level 8 Fusion, requiring Tier Elements Kit Kalos and 1 Tier Elements. Other Aqua monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle. You can only use each of the following effects once per turn. When your opponent activates a card or effect that includes an effect to special summon a monster, you can negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. Then send one Tier Elements card from your hand or face-up field to the graveyard. If this fusion summon card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can special summon this card. So you can negate that, send itself, and then bring itself back? Weird. Why not just give it the negation? Regardless, it's a special summon negator. Tearlaments, Meta Noise. If you control a Tearlaments monster or a Visa Starfrost, target one face-up monster your opponent controls, change it to face-down defense position, then send one Tearlaments monster from your deck to the graveyard. If this card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can target a Tearlaments monster in your graveyard and add it to your hand. You can only use one Meta Noise effect per turn and only once that turn. Now we have Tearlaments Kaleido Heart. Tearlaments Fusion requiring Tearlaments Rhino Heart and 2 Aqua monsters, level 9, cannot be used as fusion material. If this card is special summoned or an Aqua monster is sent to the graveyard by a card effect while this card is on the field, you can target one card your opponent controls and shuffle it into the deck. If this card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can special summon this card, and if you do, send one Tearlaments card from your deck to the graveyard. You can only use each effect of Kaleido Heart once per turn. So Tearlaments have a lot of things of, if they're sent to the graveyard, bring them back. Sticky. And we got Tearlaments main deck monsters now. Tearlaments Merely. Level 2. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can send... Just say if this card is summoned. You can send the top 3 cards of your deck to the graveyard. If this card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, except during the damage step, you can fusion summon one fusion monster from your extra deck by placing fusion materials mentioned on it from your hand, field, or graveyard, including this card from the graveyard, on the bottom of the deck in any order. You can only use each effect of Tearlaments Merely once per turn. Yeah, that's strong. It's essentially a quick play fusion from your graveyard. There's another Silvervine. We have Melfi Penny. It's level 2, as all Melfis from the main deck are. It's a tuner. If a face-up beast monster you control was returned to the hand this turn, except Melfi Penny, special summon this card from the hand. Then, after this effect resolves, synchro summon one synchro monster using only this card you control and Melfi monsters in your hand. So it's like Hoppier Squadron. I think I'm remembering Hoppier Squadron, right? During your end phase, if this card is in your graveyard, you can target one Beast Xyz monster you control and attach this card to it as material. You can only use each effect of Melfi Penny once per turn. There's another Penny. Amazoness Hall, Continuous Trap. When this card is activated, you can take one Amazoness monster from your graveyard or face-up extra deck and either add it to your hand, or if it's Pendulum monster, put it in Pendulum Zone. If a monster is special summoned to your opponent's field, you control an Amazoness monster, you can target one of those monsters, gain life points equal to its attack. You can only use this effect of Amazoness Hall once per turn. The Amazoness Continuous Traps are neat. It's kind of hard for them to beat the strongest one that already exists, which is Onslaught. Tearlaments Grief. Normal spell. Special summon a Tearlaments monster or Visa Starfrost from your deck or graveyard. Then, send one monster you control to the graveyard with the same type or attribute as that special summon monster. If this card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can target one of your banished Tearlament traps and add it to your hand. You can only use one Tearlaments Grief effect per turn and only once that turn. And we have Vera, the Vernal Sylph Goddess. Once per turn, when a monster effect activated by your opponent resolves, if you control 5 or more Earth monsters, you can negate that effect, and if you do, destroy that card. You can only use each of the following effects of Vera, the Vernal Sylph Goddess once per turn. Target one face-up monster your opponent controls, take control of it, and if you do, it becomes Earth. During your opponent's turn, quick effect, you can target one Earth monster in your graveyard and special summon it. I don't like that this card is a negation if you have 5 monsters on board that are all Earth. I like its other effects of being able to steal a monster and special summon one. The negation conditions are annoying, though. There's another Meta Noise, and nothing else new. WR. Another World Soul Carbon. Tearlaments Scream. Continuous spell. For some reason, Kashtira is already on this card art. If a monster is normal or special summoned, and you control a Teal Elements monster or Visa Starfrost, you can send the top 3 cards of your deck to the graveyard. Also, for the rest of this turn, all monsters your opponent controls lose 500 attack. If this card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can add a Teal Elements trap from your deck to your hand. You can only use each effect of Teal Elements Scream once per turn. Not bad. Not new, but Amazon's Princess. This card's name becomes Amazon's Queen while in the field or in the graveyard. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can add an Amazon spell trap from your deck to your hand. You can only use this effect of Princess once per turn. When this card declares an attack, you can send one other card from your hand or field to the graveyard to special summon an Amazon's monster from your deck in defense position except Princess. Neat. Now we have Amazoness Secret Arts. Quick play a spell. Fusion summon one Amazoness fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as material. During your main phase, you can banish this card from the graveyard once if you fusion summon an Amazoness fusion monster this turn. You can also send an Amazoness monster from your extra deck to the graveyard as material. You can only use one Secret Arts effect per turn and only once that turn. This is good for getting out their new boss monster, Augusta. Alright. Amazoness Spiritualist. If this card is in your hand or graveyard, you can target an Amazoness card you control except Spiritualist, return it to the hand, and if you do, special summon this card. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of this turn except Amazoness monsters. If this card is special summoned, you can add one polymerization from your deck to your hand. You can only use each effect of Spiritualist once per turn. So she special summons by bouncing a card, and she adds Poly. Not bad. I absolutely skipped down reading a Vernal Sylph card there. I will find that in the total report. What the hell is that freak? Vernal Sylph Corolla. Continuous spell. All earth monsters you control are also treated as Vernal Sylph monsters. Once per turn, if you would discard a Vernal Sylph monster and one card to activate the effect of that Vernal Sylph monster in your hand, you can discard only that Vernal Sylph monster instead. So this is a way to make the Vernal Sylph effects of discarding 2 more efficient. And another copy of Hot Spring. Not bad. 5 URs in our first tenor. 3 of them being Teal Elements, the meta-defining cards that they are. And let's track down, there it is, Vernal Sylph and the Flower Buds. Normal trap. Target face-up cards your opponent controls up to the number of Earth monsters you control with different names that were special summoned from the graveyard. Return Earth monsters you control to the hand equal to the number of targets. And if you return at least 1, return the targeted cards to the hand. And you can only activate 1 Vernal Sylph and the Flower Buds per turn. So, assuming you have 5 Vernal Sylphs on, or 5 Earth monsters with different names special from the graveyard on your field, you can target 5 cards your opponent controls and bounce everything. Unfortunately, the targeting part of this is targeting your opponent's cards, and targeting protection is good. Let's go next. No visible URs in this one, but only expected to get 2 out of the last one, so let's see if my luck powers hold. Vernal Sylph of the Flowering Fields. Your opponent cannot target Vernal Sylph monsters you control with card effects. That's good. You can discard this card and 1 monster or Vernal Sylph card, add 1 Earth monster from your graveyard to your hand except Vernal Sylph of the Flowering Fields, then special summon 1 Earth monster from your graveyard. Also, you cannot activate non-Earth monster effects for the rest of this turn. You can only use this effect of Vernal Sylph of the Flowering Fields once per turn. So, you could discard of the Flowering Fields and 1 big Earth monster, target a Earth monster in your graveyard. Discard this card and 1 Earth monster from your hand, or a Vernal Sylph card, and then summon the card you just discarded. Or summon Flowering Fields. Amazoness Golden Whip Master. She is a Pendulum Scale 1 with the Pendulum effect of Amazon's monsters gain attack equal to their own level times 100. When an attack is declared involving your Amazon's monster, you can target a spell trap on the field and destroy it. You can only use this effect once per turn. If this card in the monster zone is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can place it in your Pendulum zone. If an Amazon's monster is special summoned to your field while this card is in your graveyard, you can place this card in your Pendulum zone. So its monster effect is the same as Silver Sword. Good way for Pendulum cards to set themselves without having to be played. Propagandake. It's a level 3 Psychic. Once per turn, if you control a monster whose original type is Beast, Insect, Plant, or Rock, you can declare one of those types you control, and this card becomes that declared type. If this card has applied this effect, apply the following effect while it remains on the field. All face-up monsters on the field become the same type as this card. Monsters on the field with this card's type cannot be targeted by either player using the effects of monsters your opponent controls with that same type. Interesting. I wonder how that plays around or with Rivalry of the Warlords. Interesting. Chilliment's Heartbeat. Quick play spell. Target a spell trap on the field, or you can target 2 if you control Visa Starfrost. Shuffle them into the deck, then send one card from your hand to the graveyard. If this card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, target a Chilliment's trap in your graveyard and add it to your hand. You can only use one Chilliment's Heart effect per turn, only once that turn. Not bad. Back row removal. Chilliment's Haveness. When your opponent activates a monster effect on the field, quick effect. You can special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, send the top 3 cards of your deck to the graveyard. If this card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, except during the damage step, you can fusion summon one fusion monster from your extra deck by placing fusion materials mentioned on it from your hand, field, and or graveyard, including this card from the graveyard, on the bottom of the deck in any order. You can only use each tier effect of Chilliment's Haveness once per turn. So I think that seems like, because I haven't really looked at Chilliment's cards, just because I saw they were tier 0 and knew that the price tag would be out of my range in real life. It seems like all the main deck monsters have the effect of mill to fusion summon. There's another Haveness. I almost have as many Chilliment main decks as I do extras. Vernal Sylph of the Thawing Mountains. That's a cute art. You can discard this card and one monster or Vernal Sylph card to draw one card, then special summon an Earth monster from your graveyard. You cannot activate non-Earth monster effects for the rest of the turn. You can target a Vernal Sylph monster you control, and it can make a second attack during each battle phase this turn. You can only use each effect of Vernal Sylph of the Thawing Mountains once per turn. So nice. Drawing. Everyone loves drawing cards. Why Max C is so abundant. Vernal Sylph and the Changing Season. Normal trap. Target a Vernal Sylph monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand, or special summon it. During your opponent's turn, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, if you have no cards in your hand, you can banish this card from the graveyard, special summon as many Vernal Sylph monsters as possible with different names from your graveyard, but return them to the hand during your end phase. You can only use each effect of Vernal Sylph in the Changing Seasons once per turn. Vernal Sylph art makes me think of weather painters. There's another Amazon Spiritualist. If Konami credited artists, I'd be able to look into that more. Chillement Select. Continuous trap. If you control a Chilliment's monster or Visa Starfrost, you can target one effect monster your opponent controls, negate its effects, then send a monster you control to the graveyard. So that is a once per turn monster effect negation. If this card is sent to the graveyard, by card effect, you can add one Chilliment's monster from your deck to your hand. You can only use each effective Chilliments Zodiac once per turn. So nice. It's a repeating imperm. Third Havness. That was a good pack. Got another copy of Amazon's Princess, and we have Chilliments Kit Kalos. Is a level 5 fusion requiring a Chilliments monster and an Aqua. If this card is special summoned, you can take one Tearlament card from your deck and either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard. You can target one monster you control, special summon a Tearlament monster from your hand or graveyard, and if you do, send the targeted monster to the graveyard. If this card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can send the top 5 cards of your deck to the graveyard. You can only use each effective Chilliments Kit Kalos once per turn. We have Amazoness Pet Liger King, requiring a level 5 or higher Amazoness monster and one Amazoness monster. Your opponent's monsters cannot attack any monsters except for this one. You can target one Amazoness card you control and an Amazoness warrior monster in your graveyard, destroy that card on the field, and if you do, special summon that other monster from the graveyard. This card cannot attack the turn this effect is activated. You can only use this effect of Pet Liger King once per turn. Big body, it's a magnet. Not amazing, not the worst. There's another Heartbeat, another Golden Whip, another Changing Seasons, and Amazoness War Chief. If you control no monsters or only Amazoness monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. So it's a bit similar to Exo Martha. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can set one Amazon spell trap or one polymerization directly from your deck. Also, you can only attack with Amazoness monsters for the rest of the turn. You can only use each effective Amazoness War Chief once per turn. It's a good starter. There's another Gandake. And the new card of Melfi, Hide, and Seek, which is new to me. Continue a spell. The first time each beast monster you control would be destroyed by card effect each turn, it is not. You can target 3 beast monsters in your graveyard with different names, shuffle them into the deck, then draw 1. You can only use this effect of Melfi, Hide, and Seek once per turn. Those out there playing Melfis, I'm sure you'll love this. I just wanted to check if that was possible with Vernal Self, but I think the Vernal Self are all fairies. Let's go again. Hot Spring. Nothing new out of that one. Supreme Sea Mare. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can send one Aqua monster from your deck to the graveyard, except Supreme Sea Mare. During your end phase, you can tribute this card, target an Aqua monster in your graveyard, except Supreme Sea Mare, add it to your hand. You can only use each effective Supreme Sea Mare once per turn. At a glance, I'm going to say this fits into Chilliments, because they're all Aquas. Something tells me you'd rather just run more Chilliments, though. World Soul Carbon, and another War Chief. The Princess Sprite, and we have Vernal Self of the Misting Seedlings. Look at those cute little duckies. All monsters on the field lose 600 attack except Vernal Self monsters. You can discard this card and one other monster or Vernal Self card, and you cannot activate non-Earth monster effects the rest of the turn, then add one Earth Fairy monster from your deck to your hand except Vernal Self of the Misting Seedlings. Then, you can special summon one Earth monster from your graveyard. You can only use this effect to Vernal Self of the Misting Seedlings once per turn. Neat. Nice little search and summon. We got another copy of Kaleido Heart. And there we have the field spell, Primeval Planet Paralino. Field spell. When this card is activated, you can add a Tier Elements monster or Visa Starfrost from your deck to your hand. Fusion monsters and Tier Elements monsters you control gain 500 attack. If a Tier Elements monster you control or in your graveyard is shuffled into the deck or extra deck, you can target one card on the field and destroy it. You can only use this effect at Primeval Planet Paralino once per turn. You can only activate one Primeval Planet Paralino once per turn. I don't think that last bit matters very much because I'm pretty sure they limited this card to one. And there's a second one. I am rolling it, baby. Nothing new out of that pack. Melfi Wally, and another Kit Kalos, another Sea Mare, and another Corolla. Really bladdered me with the super rares in this last pack. Melfi Wally. If your opponent normal or special summons a monster, or an opponent's monster targets this card for an attack, return this card to the hand, then special summon 2 Melfi monsters from your deck with different names from each other except Melfi Wally. During your end phase, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can only use each effect of Melfi Wally once per turn. Cute. Not bad. 3 URs. Now show me the money. Nothing new out of that. More princess sprites. Nothing new out of that pack. There's Tier Elements Rhino Heart. If this card is normal, or also note, this Tier Element is a warrior, not an aqua. If this card is normal or special summon, you can send a Tier Element monster from your deck to the graveyard, except Tier Element's Rhino Heart. If this card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can special summon this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. And if you do, send a Tier Elements card from your hand to the graveyard. You can only use each effect of Tier Element's Rhino Heart once per turn. Strong. Another Spiritualist, and another War Chief. No new ones out of that one. I'm gonna be curious how many princess spreads I have at the end of this. Nothing new. Potential rarity bump. Could be a fake out. Hey, fake out. And the guaranteed you are. Second Rhino Heart. Looks like I'm going to be committing some war crimes. And looking at this, I'm already at 9 Sylvan Princess Sprites. Well, have gems we'll spend. Nothing new. Some basic rarity bumps. Nothing new out of that one. And I already have enough copies of War Chief for a playset. Nothing new out of that one. I feel like there's still Vernal Sylph and Amazon-esque cards I haven't gotten. I think tier limits have at least gotten one of each. Mostly URs. Potential rarity bump. Probably a fake out. Can't fake me out. I'm wise to your ways, Master Duel. Nothing again. Nothing. Alright, I just never seen this card before. Apparently I already had it. Paleozoic Hallucigenia. Not gonna read it, but the art is freaking me out. Another fake out rarity bump. Alright. That's like, what, 12 Princess Sprites now? And finally, we got a new card in this one, Vernal Sylph of the Awakening Forests. You can discard this card and one other monster or Vernal Sylph card, send from your deck to the graveyard one Earth monster that can be normal summoned or set, then you can special summon one Earth monster from your graveyard with a different name from the card that you sent. Also, you cannot activate non-Earth monster effects for the rest of the turn. You can target one Vernal Sylph monster you control. Its attack becomes doubled until the end of this turn. You can only use each effect of Vernal Sylph of the Awakening Forests once per turn. Nope, 11 Princess Sprites. And there were no URs in this one, so here's a guaranteed. Wow, my luck has dried up. Nothing new. Nothing. Nothing again. Vernal Sylph in full bloom. Field spell. All monsters you control gain 1000 attack while you control 5 or more Earth monsters. You can only use each of the following effects of Vernal Sylph in full bloom once per turn. You can banish one Vernal Sylph and the Flower Buds from your hand or graveyard to special summon one Vera the Vernal Sylph Goddess from your deck. If a Vernal Sylph monster is special summoned from your graveyard, you can target one monster on the field or in either graveyard and return it to the hand. It's alright. The 5 Earth monsters is still annoying. But I haven't played Vernal Sylph, so maybe it's easier than I'm making it seem. Another Sea Mare. Ugh. I think I'm going to start hitting skip on these for the next tenor. Because it's just going to be a whole lot of nothing, it seems. There's my third Rhino Heart. I guess that was my guaranteed UR. Another Spiritualist, but I already have enough. Oh, another UR. Hope it's a good one. Nope, it's a bad one. It's no material. If your opponent special summons a monster while you control no cards, you can discard this card, then target one face-up monster your opponent controls. This turn, that monster cannot be attributed or used as fusion, synchro, Xyz, or link material. You can only use this effect of no material once per turn. This is a going second card. And a waste of a UR. Alright. Let's hit that button. And skip. And looking at this, we got Mountain Sylvania. Or Mount Sylvania. You can send one plant monster from your hand or face up from your side of the field to the graveyard, choose a Sylvan monster from your deck, and place it on top of the deck. You can only use this effect of Mount Sylvania once per turn. Once per turn, during your opponent's end phase, you can excavate the top card of your deck, and if it's a plant-type monster, send it to the graveyard, otherwise place it on either the top or bottom of your deck. And that was the only new one. I'm pretty sure that wasn't even a new card. Skip again. Here we have Sylvan Dense Peon, UR, requiring 2 plant monsters. If this card is link summoned, you can choose a number from 1 to 3. Excavate that many cards from the top of your deck, and if you do, you can special summon up to 2 excavated plant monsters, but that cannot be used as link material, and send the remaining cards to the graveyard. You can target a plant monster in your graveyard that has a level. The levels of monsters this card points to become that monster's levels until the end of this turn. You can only use each effect of Sylvan Dance Peon once per turn. They say this is a Sylvan card, but it feels more like Rika, being able to modulate levels and blocking you out of link summoning. We have Tearlament's Shiren. During your main phase, you can special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, send one monster from your hand to the graveyard. Then send the top 3 cards of your deck to the graveyard. If this card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can fusion summon one fusion monster from your extra deck by placing fusion materials on it from your hand, field, and or graveyard, including this card from the graveyard, on the bottom of the deck in any order. So she special summons Self, level 4, Waifu, looks like Ecclesia. Got 2 more Tearlament Screams also. Let's crack open some more. And skip. Nothing new. Did get another Vera. And this will be the last one, which has nothing new again. So let's look at the total list. Let's see the ones I didn't get and read them off. Joyous Melfies, requiring 2 or more level 2 beasts. You can detach 1 material from this card. Your Melfie monsters can attack directly this turn. During your opponent's turn, quick effect, you can target 1 Beast Xyz monster you control and return to the extra deck. Then special summon level 2 or lower beast monsters from your graveyard up to the number of materials that monster had. You can only use this effect of Joyous Melfies once per turn. Excuse me. It's dusty. Amazoness Augusta, requiring 1 Amazoness fusion monster and 1 Amazoness monster. Your opponent cannot target other Amazoness cards you control with card effects. Also, those cards cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. If this card was fusion summoned using an Amazoness Empress or Amazoness Queen as material, it can make a second attack during each battle phase. If this card is fusion summoned, you can special summon 1 Amazoness monster from your deck. You can only use this effect of Amazoness Augusta once per turn. And Vernal Sylph of the Flourishing Hills. Vernal Sylph monsters you control cannot be destroyed by card effects. You can discard this card and 1 monster or Vernal Sylph card to add a Vernal Sylph card from your deck to your hand, except Vernal Sylph of the Flourishing Hills. Then you can special summon one Earth monster from your graveyard. You can activate non-Earth monsters for the rest of the turn, and you can only use this effect once per turn. And other than that, it looks like got everything. So after spending all that dust and getting this stuff, I'm going to be taking apart at least 2 princesses and 1 primeval planet. Did pretty good on the UR front, all things considered. Other Teal'c cards I need 1 more Shiren, and I'll probably want another Rukalos. Kitkalis is limited to 1, so I'll be taking apart 3 of those. Not bad, though. Not bad at all. But I did leave myself with 1,000 gems, so we could go here and see, ignoring those, get the stuff that actually matters, which is the Madolche Chateau Field. Yeah. Yeah. Love Madolches. And also get the new Icon frame for the celebration of Spring Breeze. But that is going to bring us to the end of the pack opening. I'll be doing Watch and Learn soon, but I refuse to edit videos, so I'm just going to start an entirely new stream to do that one. But this is going to be its own video, so I have to do the outro bit. If you caught the stream, thanks for watching. If you're catching a replay, thanks for that too. Goodbye.